Hello, Today I'm going to explain why birds don't get electrocuted. It's a common sight, isn't it? Birds perched on power lines, seemingly oblivious to the danger that would befall us humans if we were to do the same. Yet, they sit there, unharmed and unperturbed. It's a question that has sparked curiosity among people for ages. Why don't these feathered creatures get a shocking surprise when they settle on these wires? Well, it's not magic or some special bird power, but a fascinating exploration of physics and biology. This seemingly simple observation unlocks a world of knowledge about electricity, conductivity, and how birds interact with their environment. It's a wonderful testament to the intricate and often surprising ways in which nature works. So, are you ready to unravel this mystery? Let's dive into the reasons why birds don't get electrocuted. Firstly, birds usually perch on a single electric wire. This seemingly simple action is actually a crucial factor in why birds do not get electrocuted. To understand why, we need to delve a little into the physics of electricity. Electricity is essentially a flow of electrons. For electric current to pass from one point to another, there needs to be a potential difference or voltage between those 2 points. When a bird is perched on a single wire, it is in contact with only one voltage level. This means that there is no potential difference across its body, and therefore, no electric current will pass through it. Think of it like climbing a mountain. If you're standing at the base, you're at one level. If you're standing at the peak, you're at another level. But if you're standing on a plateau, halfway up the mountain, you're at a single level. Just like a bird on a wire, you're not going anywhere because there's no difference in height, or in the bird's case, voltage, for you to move to. This is why birds can safely sit on power lines without getting a shock. They are at the same electrical potential as the wire. And as long as they don't touch another wire at a different electrical potential, they will be safe. However, if a bird were to stretch its wings and touch another wire with a different voltage, it would create a path for electricity to flow, creating a potential difference, and could get electrocuted. So the key to a bird's safety is staying on one wire at a time and not completing an electrical circuit that would allow electricity to flow through their bodies. But that's not the only reason. Let's look at more factors. Another reason is the nature of bird feathers. These feathers are made up of dry air, which is a poor conductor of electricity. When an electric current tries to pass through something, it will always take the path of least resistance. In the case of birds perched on a wire, the current finds it much easier to continue along the wire rather than trying to pass through the bird's body. Now let's talk about the bird's feathers. They are designed to repel water and keep the bird dry, even in a downpour. This is crucial because a dry bird is a poor conductor of electricity, thanks to the insulating properties of the air trapped within its feathers. So even when a bird is perched on a live wire, electricity prefers to stay on its original path along the wire instead of veering off through the bird. Next, consider the bird's feet. Birds have an incredibly small contact area with the wire. This is because they stand on their toes, not their flat feet, which dramatically reduces the area of contact. The smaller the contact area, the harder it is for electricity to pass through. This, combined with the bird's dry feathers, makes it quite a challenge for an electric current to pass through a bird's body. Lastly, their swift movements also play a role. Birds are quick to land and take off from electric wires. The faster they move, the less time there is for an electric current to pass through their bodies. This rapid movement reduces the chances of an electric current veering off its course along the wire and passing through the bird instead. In conclusion, the reasons why birds don't get electrocuted while perched on electric wires are multifaceted. It's a combination of staying on a single wire, the nature of their feathers, their small contact area, and their swift movements. Despite these protective factors, birds can still get electrocuted in certain situations. Let's start with simultaneous contact with two wires. Most often, birds perch on a single wire, which doesn't allow for an electric current to pass through their bodies due to the absence of a potential difference. However, should a bird touch two wires at once, it creates a path for the electricity to flow. This can lead to an unfortunate electrocution. Next, we have the issue of wet feathers. Bird feathers are naturally excellent insulators due to the dry air they contain. However, when these feathers get wet, say during a downpour, their insulating properties can significantly decrease. Wet feathers can conduct electricity, increasing the risk of electrocution for our feathered friends. Lastly, let's talk about the vulnerability of young birds. Young birds are less stable and coordinated compared to their adult counterparts. Their inexperience and natural curiosity can lead them to make contact with wires accidentally or without proper caution. This can, in turn, increase their risk of getting electrocuted. It's important to remember, though, that while these scenarios can lead to bird electrocution, they are not the norm. Most birds navigate their electrified environments skillfully, managing to avoid these dangerous situations. Nevertheless, recognizing these risks helps us understand the challenges birds face and allows us to take action to mitigate them. So, how can we protect birds from getting electrocuted? There are several ways to protect birds from electrocution. One of the most effective solutions is to insulate electric wires. By covering these wires with an insulating material, we can reduce the chances of birds coming into direct contact with the current. This insulation works as a protective barrier that prevents the electric current from passing through the birds, even if they perch on the wires. Another effective method is to prevent birds from building their nests on power poles. Birds often see power poles as ideal nesting spots due to their height and structure. However, this puts them at a high risk of electrocution. To discourage birds from nesting on these poles, deterrent devices can be installed. These devices are designed to be unattractive or uncomfortable for birds, encouraging them to seek out safer locations for their nests. Finally, we cannot underestimate the importance of education in protecting birds from electrocution. The general public needs to be aware of the risks that birds face when they come into contact with electric wires. This awareness can then encourage actions that help protect birds, such as reporting fallen or damaged wires, or supporting initiatives that aim to make power lines safer for birds. Protecting birds from the dangers of electrocution is not just about preserving bird populations. It's also about maintaining the balance of our ecosystems. Birds play a vital role in these systems, from controlling pest populations to pollinating plants. Therefore, their well-being directly affects the health of our environment. Moreover, taking steps to protect birds from electrocution can also benefit us humans. For instance, insulating electric wires can prevent power outages caused by birds, and installing deterrent devices on power poles can reduce the risk of fires caused by bird nests. It's clear that the issue of bird electrocution is one that requires our attention. By understanding and addressing these risks, we can help protect our feathered friends. To summarize, birds usually don't get electrocuted on power lines due to several factors. They perch on a single wire, creating no potential difference for electricity to flow. Their dry feathers reduce electrical conductivity, and their small contact area with the wire makes it harder for electricity to pass through their bodies. Plus, their quick movements minimize the time for electricity to flow. However, there are situations where birds can get shocked. If they touch two wires simultaneously, if their feathers are wet, or if they are young and unsteady, they are at a higher risk. As for protection, insulating electric wires and discouraging birds from nesting on poles can help. And of course, educating ourselves and others about these risks is crucial. Thanks for watching. Remember, understanding and protecting our wildlife is a responsibility we all share.